When you're with Alice Cooper, you sense that you're in the presence of greatness.
Before anyone did anything, Alice did everything.
Every single thing that he did was pretty much outside the box. I mean, it wasn't even outside. They didn't even know where the box was.
Alice is just natural at entertaining people.
It's very, very unique in what he does. And he's a very powerful singer. He's a great singer.
Every song has a different vibe.
He really simplified teenage angst and created these huge anthems.
It was like watching a movie come to life in front of you. That's genius to me.
Alice Cooper is one of rock and roll's original architects, a rebellious pioneer with a fearless commitment to spectacle who influenced 4 decades of artists that followed in his footsteps.
Alice Cooper's like Albert Einstein. I mean, he invented the whole shock rock thing. He's the guy that came up with the whole concept. And that itself spawned thousands of bands.
He's got at least 7 classic albums. You know, most people can't come up with one classic song.
I just like things that are strange and weird. Alice Cooper is beyond strange and weird.
Alice Cooper and his band of the same name decided to turn rock and roll upside down when they hit the stage at the height of the Flower Power era.
In 1970, the rock scene was dominated by t-shirts and jeans, long hair and beards. Nobody was doing what Alice Cooper was doing on stage.
To dress like a transvestite and wear makeup and wrap yourself in gold foil, and, you know, that was really out there. He was blurring the gender lines, and I think they took a lot of crap for doing that.
I mean, if you go back to the rules of rock and roll, they were pretty straightforward, and then somebody like Alice comes in and completely shakes them up.
Gay was in the closet. Men were meant to be macho. Women were meant to be beautiful. Alice was an artist who desired a reaction, just like Andy Warhol or Salvador Dali.
Igniting a visceral response from the audience became Alice Cooper's all-consuming goal. One guaranteed way to do that? Makeup.
Guys like me with black hair and eyeliner. He made it okay to look like this. You know, he was kind of like the poster child.
Without Alice Cooper, there would be no Kiss. He was the first guy that had the balls to do so many things that everybody else wouldn't do.
It was 1970. The band was playing a gig in New York City. Alice and bassist Dennis Dunaway were rooming together.
And I saw this picture of a clown on the building. It was the Joffrey Ballet. So Alice and I went out and found eyeliner and came back to the hotel and said, well, you can't do this exact makeup, but do something different. He came up with this spidery thing. And I remember he's sitting in the hotel room and he's got a little mirror and he's sitting there and he puts it on, you know, and he looks at me and I said, so what do you think? And he said, well, I don't know about stage, but for every day, it was born. That night at the performance, Alice wore the makeup for the first time.
There were heroes in rock, but there were no villains. So Alice Cooper decided, let me create this image for myself. Let me create this landscape where I'm this sinister, evil character, and the whole show will revolve around my misdoings and evil deeds.
As Alice evolved his menacing onstage identity, the band's live shows generated a lot of chatter, but reactions weren't always favorable.
First time I saw Alice perform was in Venice, California. Alice went on and did a song called Nobody Likes Me.
The room was full, and we started playing. Alice would be a little kid in his room, and we got a screen door and knocked the screen out and had him leaning through singing, Nobody Likes Me, It's All My Fault.
And started screaming at everyone, you hate me, you hate me, you hate me, you hate me, and they took his word and left.
All of these people started yelling at us and leaving, and I even looked behind me because I thought there was a fire or something.
They see a band like ours and we're playing very, you know, original music. And, you know, maybe it went over their heads.
So the only ones left standing would be Frank Zappa. Frank signed it for the record label and I signed it for management. Both of us feeling that anyone who could evoke that kind of emotion was what an artist is about.
For some crowds, Alice's antics were just too crazy. But for those who got it, it was the beginning of a musical sea change.
My first direct experience with Alice Cooper was actually in New York, Max's Kansas City in 1970. When I walked into the place, everybody there had spider eyes and was wearing spandex. Everybody had black fingernail polish and jet black hair. I'd never seen anything like it. The whole room was vibrating from the moment they hit the stage until the moment that they were off. I don't want to be profane, but it was like seeing God, you know. It was like, oh boy, my eyes opened up. I said, this isn't rock and roll, this is the beginning of a cultural movement.
With his antenna tuned to the world around him, Alice was like a sponge, absorbing the turbulence of the times and feeding it back to his audience in a steady diet of rebellious rock and roll.
Alice Cooper made it a more direct statement directly to the teenagers. You know, what do you deal with as a teenager? What are you struggling with?
And the reaction became very negative from parents, which became very positive for children.
I was able to look at him and go, wow, this guy's pretty cool. He's got it together, and he knows how I feel, and I didn't feel alone.
When we come back,
Welcome to my breakdown.
unleashing the nightmare
When I get behind that shield, I can be anybody I want to be.
when Mad Genius continues.
Yeah, welcome to my nightmare.